Hello and welcome back to our study of Peninei Halacha, the teaching of Eliezer Melamed Shlita. Here we are on Thursday, continuing our learning. Please continue davening for Chaylei Tzvagan Yisrael for Shlem L'chol Petzuei Yisrael and the safe return of our hostages. And we learn Ili Nishmat Seren Daniel Shimon ben Harav Duran V'Shalei Shemekam Damo. The next chapter, Shmiras HaMenhagim Milchizika Kehila. Shmiras HaMenhagim Kolelas Benusaf LeNusach Hatefillah. So as we've been speaking about safeguarding our traditions and our menhagim vis-a-vis nusach, gamas tzuras hagaya, temanim b'haga temanit, svardim b'haga svardit, ashkenazim b'hagaya ashkenazis, kol kehila lofi hagayasam yuchedes. So I did that on purpose. The way that we pronounce and say the words. So if you're a Yemenite, to say it in a Yemenite fashion, Sephardim in a Sephardim fashion, Ashkenazim with an Ashkenazim, we might call that havara. Each community should do it according to their specific custom of pronunciation. Not only that, but each community, each congregation should daven also with the tunes and the nusach and the way that they sing, which they've been doing for years. So we understand that maybe they want to bring in new tunes, new songs. But still, one should maintain the sanctity of the tunes that have been used for generations. And of course, as we've been saying, ideally speaking, one should daven in a shul that follows your family's nusach. If you go to Israel, we touched on this a little bit yesterday, but there are many minhagim. Nusach Sfardim mischalek l'kama minhagim. So when you say Nusach Sfard, that's not exactly a specific title. There are many within Nusach Sfard that have different customs. B'inyanei Halacha, hashinim haikarim heim bein hanogan al pi shulchan aruch l'nogan al pi ben ish chai. As far as Halacha goes, so the main differences are those who follow the Shulchan Aruch versus those who follow the Ben Ish Chai. Again, you're talking about in Sephard. There's a nusach of those that come from North Africa. And if you look at the difference between those from North Africa or those from Iraq or those from Syria, so not such great differences. However, when it comes to the tunes and the way they sound when they daven, much greater differences. And even those that come from North Africa, there are differences in how they sound and how they sing. So they do this so that we can completely protect those minhagim. So what do we do? Tripoli, Tunis, Algier, Morocco, Iraq, Syria, Pras, Turkey, Paras. That's why you'll find that even though it's a Sephardic shul, but ask yourself, what type of Sephardic shul is? Which is why in Israel especially you'll have a Sephardic shul that is for people from Libya, from Tripoli, or people from Tunis, or Algiers, or Morocco, or Iraq, or Syria, or Persian, or Turkey. That's as far as the Sephardim go. V'chein bein Olei Ashkenaz, yeshda minhagim shonim. As far as the Ashkenaz go, there are different customs as well. Hahevdal hagadol hu bein hachasidim l'shar ha'ashkenazim. So the big differences between Hasidim definitely would not be called Sephardim. We call them Ashkenazim, but the way they daven is very different than what mainstream Ashkenazim would daven. And there's certainly differences between how they pronounce the words and how they sing. So there's a difference in the Nusach Ashkenaz, let's say from those of Western Europe versus those who come from Lithuania. And as far as the way that they pronounce the words and the nusach of the words that they use, there's at least 4 categories. Ole Lita, Ole Poland, Ole Galicia, Ole Hungaria. Lithuanian, Polish, Galicianers, and Hungarians. I'm not even sure you could say all those in the same sentence, but people get very sensitive about these things. But especially if you would look, let's say, in a Slichas book. You don't pick up just a random Slichas book when the time comes. It says which nusach. It's Nusach Poland, Nusach Lita, etc. And amongst the Hasidim also, there are differences in their customs and how they sing, etc. I don't know that I'm not familiar with this between the Yemenites, but the Yemenites have different customs as well. I hope I pronounced that correctly. You'll let me know if I didn't. Bala'adim and Sha'amim, it's Shin Aleph Mem Yud Mem. You'll help me out with that. And best is to follow the custom of your family. Ella, she'im ha'akpad al shmiras hamanhagim tigron lepir kahakihila, adif levater al shmiras hamanhagim. If, let's say, you have this all in one shul, and each insists on following their own minhag, and it's going to create machlokas, better that you should forego following the minhagim rather than you should have unity instead. When you have, generally speaking, a kahila that has shiurim and has Torah study for men, l'nashim li'adim, for women and for children, v'yeshba pe'ilot shel gemilas chasadim, and they have a chesed committee that's active. Hi matzlicha lekasher kol chavrei l'Torah mitzvos, and this is the way that you connect people to Torah and to mitzvos. V'kasher hi nechleshes, gam chavereha nechlashim. But if there's discord and it's weak, then the community and the people will be weak. B'miuchad hadavar mashpil l'ra al yadim, and it'll be a bad influence on the children. V'im kain, and if so, even though, technically speaking, one should follow the nusach of one's parents, mikol makom, nevertheless, if instead of having one shul, you're going to have different disparate smaller shuls, they won't have nice davening, shirei Torah v'chai kehila, it's going to take away from the Torah learning and the communal activities that they can do with chesed, etc. It's better that they should all, from the different backgrounds, come together and make one strong community, one strong shul. L'mashal, shekol yotzei tzafon Africa yispal yachad. Again, we're talking about within those same kvutzot. So all the North Africans should daven together. Ve'im gamzel speak as shekol mispal nusach Sfaradi yispal yachad. If that's not enough to get a strong group, then at least all the Sephardic. In America, if you go to a Sephardic shul, you'll ask around, oh, this one's from Iraq, this one's from Syria, this one's from Egypt, and they figure out a way to make it work. So therefore, one has to estimate the value of having each nusach followed versus having a strong kehila. So if you have the ability to make a strong shul with davening and learning and community, etc., and they're all from the same nusach, that's wonderful. But if you don't have enough families to fulfill that, better they should join with even a community that has different nusach, but better that they should have a strong kehila. And if that doesn't work, then mutav shebnei kol ha'edus, Sfardim, Ashkenazim, Teimodim, yislakadu l'chila achas. Then if you can't even, let's say, get all the Sfardim together and it's not strong enough, you should have Sephardim with Ashkenazim, with Yemenite, etc. Better, more importantly, to have one strong community. So you get through Tzrich L'Yishakal B'Choved Rosh, and you have to estimate this with a great amount of humility. And if you have a leader in the town, a rabbi, a halachic decider, he's the one that should decide all these matters. So community is not easy. I think it's a little bit easier for us here in the diaspora because we don't have a shul in every block like they do in Israel, but certainly difficult and challenging nonetheless, but not something that we cannot overcome. So thank you so much for listening to us today. Please continue davening for Chalei Tzog and Israel, for Shalom B'Chol B'Tzvei Yisrael. Safe return of our hostages. Nishmat Sarah and Daniel Shimon and Rav John Michelle Yishem Kum Demo. Again, thank you so much for listening. I hope you have a wonderful day, and we will see you here next time.